guys, Rochelle here with Amethyst Ascension. If you are new here, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you so much for joining me again. So today I'm going to be doing a fun hashtag. I was tagged to do this by Novamundi. She originally did this, and novamunditarot. She is the creator of this tag. And I was also tagged by Marie France. And I know I didn't say it like she did. It's so beautiful how she says it. Oh, I love it. She's got a beautiful voice. But this is the Editorspickdecks hashtag created by Novamundi, and I am finally making my way around to it. I'm not sure when you're going to see it because I've got other review things coming out, but I really want to do it. These are so fun to do, and I like joining in and seeing what other people's picks for this are. I did decide to make this tarot edition only, and I'm going to do another edition for Oracle only edition. But I wanted to limit it just to tarot this time around. So it is a series of 15 different questions, and there was something else I wanted to say. Now I'm forgetting what it was. It couldn't have been that important, or it'll come back to me. So let's just jump right in, okay? I do have all of my picks already. Let me put them over here. So the first one is Inner Child Work, a deck that you recommend for inner child healing, one that feels safe, nurturing, and playful, ideal for reconnecting with innocence, creativity, and emotional truth. And for me, I felt like the Chibi Tarot. I feel like childhood work is probably or can be extremely painful. So using something like this can hopefully soften the blow, because I mean the colors are soft, the images are playful and cute and endearing, and it's just beautiful. I mean, down to the gilding, down to the backs. The cardstock is beautiful. Let me shuffle it for you. I mean, even that is a fun experience because it is so beautifully designed. This deck is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. So anything that you're dealing with, I would think, would be a little bit of a softer blow. But all of the traditional, from what I have been able to see, symbolism is in this. But it's just done with such a cute package, right? So cute. Oh my gosh. Look at it. But the colors, everything. Yeah. And then the book. Concise, to the point messages, right? Not just a nauseating amount of information. Just right, right? The next prompt was for, what I wanted to remember was, I want to say that there are lots of decks in my collection that would fit within these prompts. And I might not have chose my first pick. However, I wanted to choose something to shake it up a little bit from what I would normally choose, okay? That you would normally see on my channel from previous hashtags or, videos that I've made. I didn't want to be so same every single time. So the next one is Shadow Work, a deck that's powerful for helping readers face their shadows. Honest, deep, and unafraid to confront the difficult. This is your recommendation for deep transformation and self-inquiry. So this is one of many recommendations. I've said before, when it comes to shadow work, I think you can absolutely use any deck. It does not matter. As long as you can connect and get those messages clearly, any deck will work for that. I feel like any deck will work for any of these prompts. as long as you can connect to it, right? But the Rooted Remembrance by Ray Serafina Barker is just so beautiful. And I feel like, well, I mean, even in the name, Rooted Remembrance, these messages are so deep, but not like extensive. Like, let me give you one. Okay, like Two of Light. Let's see what it says here for Two of Light. Just give me a minute. Okay. So for Two of Light, we've got the light is ours to dance with. The flickers plus sparks invite our creativity. How might you approach your luminous aliveness plus radiant magic with more play plus delight, curiosity plus flow? Above all, the light invites our participation and invites us to partner with it to create beautiful things. What might that look like for you? How might you dance with the light within? What might it look like to collaborate with the sparks of creativity plus magic moving through you? How might you hold it all lightly and playfully? See, the thing I like about this is each one of these cards asks you several questions, and that's how you really can dig into the shadow, is by asking questions and then answering those questions, finding the answers or seeking for the answers to those questions. So that's why I really thought that this was perfect, and why this deck is really good for its namesake of Rooted Remembrance. So that was my pick for shadow work. Although I do think any deck will work as long as you connect with it. So deity work is the third one. It says for spirit guides, a deck that serves as a spiritual bridge, perfect for working with deities, spirit guides, or higher realms. It holds sacred energy and supports devotional practice of channeled messages. So for me, I thought of the Tarot of Aphrodite. I was going back and forth between this one and another one of their creations from Aphrodite Studios 333, which is the Tarot of Venus. It's something like that. That's the name of it. And for me, everything I want to do comes from a place, even all of my magic, everything, first comes from a place of, or I want it to come from a place of love and compassion and kindness. And so if there's any deity that I probably channel more than any other, it is the archetype of Aphrodite or Venus, that of love, right? So I thought of this particular deck. And spirit guides, that's something that I would probably, I'll make a video on that. But I know a lot of people deal with their spirit guides, and I don't. That's not something that I've ever done. I always go right to my higher self. That is my compass right there, is my higher self. Spirit guides, I feel like it's, and this is just my own perception, don't come at me if you feel differently, but I feel like they're all extensions of our higher self. So, and I don't know, I might change my mind on that tomorrow. It's still kind of iffy for me, but not that I don't think that they would be their own individual, although I do think that we're all of one. I do think that we do have individualization as well. So, but for me, I just deal with my own higher self. I don't usually hear the voices of many. I hear the voices of one, which is the higher form of myself. And sometimes I even wonder if spirit guides are other aspects, perhaps, of our previous energy from other lives, like a council. Just stuff that goes around in my head. But this is the deck that I thought of. Just absolutely beautiful. Nudity alert. Some of these fine art, but beautiful. Beautiful. And it always feels very feminine to me, or that's what I want to channel, is more of those feminine characteristics. So that was my choice for Deity Work deck. So the next prompt was number 4, Ancestor Work. A deck that you'd suggest for connecting with ancestral wisdom, whether for lineage healing or honoring those who came before. This one opens the path to ancestral connection. And for me, remember, I'm keeping to tarot. This particular one feels really good. I've used this several times for ancestral work, and it works really good in conjunction with some other decks that I have, like the oracle decks, like the what is it? The beloved dead, or something like that. I can't see it from here, and I'm so terrible with names. Another deck that I really love for this kind of work is the Stretch Tarot, because that feels like another time, and it's like a Mod Podge of just like very vintage images. But these are from like days gone past, so it could feel very ancestral to me. Keeping in tune with using tarot only, because I have a couple other ones that I like using for ancestral work also that are, like I said, oracle. But I will do a separate, I don't know when I'll get to the next one, oracle, maybe in a month. The Editor's Pick Decks, Editor's Pick Decks, if I can say that right, for oracle edition. So yeah, this is by Carrie Paris, and this is just an amazing, amazing deck. So that was my choice for number 4, a deck for ancestor work. So number 5, Divination, a deck that excels in traditional divination. Clear, direct, and accurate. This is your top pick for those seeking predictive insight or practical answers. And so for me, I thought of RWS, traditional, right? And I could also think of the Thoth. However, this is more traditional, I think, and more widely used. So this one struck me as the one. However, for me, I'm not a huge fan of this artwork. I mean, I do see it in my mind's eye. I do see it. But I'm just not a huge fan of RWS, this artwork. So I wanted to, and this is the only one that I've done this with, show a more modern, updated version of this particular deck. It's like it feels very cloney to me. And this one is called Awaken Tarot. And it is very similar. It's just the artwork is better, in my opinion, and it's more updated, more relevant into our now times, you know? But with that same traditional symbolism as in the original RWS decks. I like the diversity that this offers, and I like the colors a lot. I like the updated clothing, more modern scenes. I mean, like, look at, that's more modern. So yeah, those would be my 2 choices: the Smithwaite Tarot deck and the Centennial, or the Awakened Tarot. So the next one I thought of for the next prompt, which is As Above, a deck that connects the reader to cosmic or spiritual realms, ideal for soul work, life path exploration, or messages from the higher self. It speaks to the divine perspective. So another thing that I want to mention is that whenever I do tarot, every single thing is with my higher self, in conjunction with my higher self, always. And when it's for me and when it's for somebody else that I'm reading for, I connect my higher self with the other party's, the querent's higher self, in order to get the best possible interpretation of the cards for the benefit of the querent. But this one feels more ethereal to me. It feels like angelic energy to me. It feels less linear to me. Very much more cosmic and on a higher realm, a higher understanding, a bird's eye view kind of deck. And I also love that it's got two versions of the Fool, like the beginner Fool and the Fool that's been around the block a time or two, you know, the completed Fool, or at least the leveled up Fool. So, yeah, I mean, this also speaks of other beings, you know, not just angelic, but other beings. And I feel like we have access to all that. It's just a very powerful, powerful deck. Oh, yeah. So that's the Shimmering Veil for my As Above deck. So the next prompt and deck is called So Below, a deck that you recommend for grounded, real-world readings. This one captures everyday emotions, human experiences, and earthly wisdom with clarity and depth. And this one felt like the Everyday Enchantment Tarot by Poppy Palin. And mine is a cut-down version. I really could not stand all those big borders. But this deck, it does feel like just a regular, everyday kind of settings. I mean, you can see here, these are everyday things that people will see in their life, depicted in the cards. And this just feels like perfect for a grounded, practical, real life kind of what you're dealing with kind of deck. I mean, gosh, I should use this more. This is just fantastic. This deck is fantastic. Ten of Wands. Can you feel that? I can most definitely feel that. I felt that yesterday. Seemed like I couldn't, no matter what, I couldn't keep up with everything. And everybody was trying to talk to me. The High Priestess sometimes is just spending time with your cats and listening to them, right? Oh, and animals in general. Yes. Six of Coins. Wow. King of Coins. Isn't that fabulous? The Moon. Wow. This deck. Strength. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yup. Homemade crafts. Seven of Coins. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. I've got goosebumps. Three of Wands. Look at that. Oh. She really did capture Poppy Palin. She really did capture so much in these cards. I've got goosebumps. Oh. Yeah. Wow. Oh. Oh. All right, moving on. So the next prompt and deck are a hug deck. A deck that offers emotional support and comfort, gentle, compassionate, and soothing. This is a deck that feels like a warm hug for anyone going through a tough time. Again, so many of these decks, I have several decks for these, for every one of these categories. This is just the one I chose today. This is so beautiful. The artwork is inspiring and deep and compassionate, and you can just feel it. I mean, is that not a hug? Would you really want to be up? I would not want to, but the thought of being able to just love on a lion or a tiger or a fierce animal, oh my gosh, that would just be like heaven, man. And you'd probably be in heaven to see it. But that is so comforting, right? This is definitely a hug. Even some of the harder cards. Let me see, because these are still in order. This was the new one that they sent to me with the corrected star and moon cards. Yeah. But there's one that I want to show you that it's one of the cards that are usually not as happy-go-lucky, but it still makes me laugh. It's still a laughable... Where is it? There it is. It's this one. I talked about this before. The Six of Swords, right? She's going away, right? And he's almost like, oh, you know, I'm happy to see you go. And he's probably yelling the same guy from the Seven of Swords, right? I pushed you away and I'm so happy that I did. So, I mean, like a shit-eating grin on his face, right? That's what it felt like. But it makes me laugh, even though it's the Six of Swords. So, that was my pick for a hug deck. So the next prompt is for a feel-good deck, a deck that uplifts, encourages, and energizes. Whether through color, artwork, or messages, this one is a perfect feel-good recommendation for readers who want joy and empowerment. And again, there's plenty that I could think of, but I don't hardly ever show the Wisdom of Pooh. I don't think I've ever done, other than possibly getting rid of it, right? So I thought I would pull this out because I do see that this could be a super joyous deck. A deck, I could have also seen this for the child. I could have reversed like the Chibi Tarot with this one. One for inner child work with this one for the feel good. But feeling good as in you remember what it was like when you were a kid and Winnie the Pooh and, what's his name? Christopher? I think that was his name. Gosh, I was not a huge, I didn't watch a lot of Winnie the Pooh when I was little, but I do remember, and I did read some of the books when I was little or had them read to me, but they were always learning new adventures and everything was like a fantasy adventure, you know? And it was friends doing things together. So like when you would hang out with your friends in the neighborhood when you were a kid, and you'd go and ride bikes together and climb trees together and stuff like that. So it definitely feels like remembering some of those things, like having a fort with your friends and playing like sword fighting, or in our case, playing Wonder Woman, right? I can really kind of go back to that kind of feel-good energy with this deck. Yeah, look at pure joy. Yeah. The colors are so good. They're joyous colors. So, yes, this was my pick for a feel-good deck. So the next prompt is for prompt 10, most versatile. A deck that you recommend for handling any type of reading, love, career, shadow work, daily polls, and everything in between. Reliable, flexible, and reader-friendly. This is the all-rounder that adapts to every situation. Again, tons of my decks would fall into this. But the reason that I chose the Good Fortune Tarot is because I love the messages that are in here. I love the whole concept of giving a positive good fortune with every reading. But also in the book, she has, and this is a big book too, and I'm talking about Barbara Moore in the book. So for each one of them, there is a message. Hang on. There is a message for the minor arcana. Oh, hang on. This is why. This is why I wasn't seeing it. Okay, so like for the world, a good fortune, celebrate and pay it forward, fate, contemplation, and then a reversal of fortune, the good fight. So I love that. It gives you like different scenarios for each one. So let me just like, well, let me show you the cards too. I'm trying not to make this be super long, but I love the cards. I think they're beautiful. I think they could be used in like any of those situations that we talked about. But I like the theme of it being showing like how getting this card can be a good fortune for you. Offering like insightful, helpful advice going forward, right? Instead of just saying, ooh, you better watch out, girl. You know, something like that. Oh, blah, 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 this or that. No, it gives practical advice, or you can get practical advice. I mean, you can with any deck, but I feel like this book really exudes that information. So the next prompt was most inspiring. And this says, a deck that you recommend to inspire creativity, intuitive flow, or personal transformation. Whether it's the art, the energy, or the depth of the messages, this one sparks something powerful in the reader. This one I chose, the Tarot of Mystical Moments, because the artwork is quirky and it's fantastical and fantasy-based and off the wall, and it's a little bit different than what you would see in like a basic Rider-Waite Smith clone deck. Okay, it's like fanciful. And there's something, I mean, the artwork itself inspires, to me at least, inspiration. It inspires more thought. It inspires creativity. It inspires, like fantasy, our fantasy self, right? I can see stories in these cards. And every time I look at these cards, I feel like I can get something different out of them because they're so quirky that something might stick out different every time. You know, like when you're looking at him, every time that you look at it, you might see something different. The first thing that you see on him, right? Maybe something in one of the buildings that you see, or in the fruits and the flowers, or whatever, in the patterns. It's just fabulous. I feel like this is a great storytelling deck. As a matter of fact, I have done some storytelling with this deck. And I feel like it's not difficult. I feel like it's not difficult with a deck like this. I mean, gosh, it's just amazing. Yep, that's Oliver. All right, time to move on. All right, so the next prompt is best for beginners. A deck that you'd confidently recommend to someone just starting their tarot journey. Accessible, clear, and easy to learn with. This one makes tarot feel inviting rather than intimidating. And I also had the Light Seers for this, but I switched it around because I think the Light Seers will be better in the next prompt. But I could see tons of different decks working for this too. I will say that my very first deck was a Tarot Marchetti deck, and it was the Gilded Tarot, and a book by Ellershaw. I can't remember her first name. And it was called Easy Tarot. I think why this is a great deck for beginners is because the Mystic Palette handbook, the Tarot Handbook by Lee Burston, it's not too much information. It's just like enough. The artwork is beautiful. It's hit or miss on some of them, right? But I feel like the information that they put in this is really good. The write-ups are really good. I can't remember, is there spreads in this? Yes. Yes. Okay, there's like 3 spreads in here. But this artwork by Ciro Marchetti is so inviting. It's so, oh, it's just so beautiful that for me, I was so drawn to it. And this is why I think that it's a great beginner's deck, because for me, I was so drawn to the artwork that I wanted to work with it. I wanted to learn more because I was so intrigued by what was behind the images. You know what I mean? So I feel that way about any deck. If for a beginner, any deck that you really just are so drawn to, you feel that kind of connection, is a great beginner deck. I do also think that a great beginner deck would be an RWS, something like a clone, and maybe use them in conjunction with each other. You know, you can read, I would never suggest, just me personally, I would never suggest reading out of the pictorial key. It's, the one that I have is bland and depressing. So many other books have so much more information on that you can just explore, okay? So my suggestion is to just go with what feels right. And if it comes with a great guidebook for a beginner, that's perfect. But ultimately, it should be something that you really want to work with, because even if it doesn't come with a guidebook, there are tons of books out that you can get that talk about how to learn the tarot symbolism, how to read with the tarot, like tarot tips and tricks for bonding with your decks, all that. There's lots of books, standalone books, that are great for that. So maybe another tag would be, what are the best books for these kind of prompts, you know, that you have found, either standalone or guidebooks. So that is if you're somebody that likes to read the guidebooks and refer to the guidebooks. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. You know, Almond Joy's got nuts. And Mounds don't. Anywho, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so this one is the 13th prompt, Best for Professionals, a deck that you suggest for experienced readers who need depth, nuance, and strong symbolism. Ideal for layered readings, spiritual insight, and working with clients at a professional level. That is the Light Seers. For somebody that wants to read, and I guess that depends on, you know, whether or not your readings are lengthy and more just based on like a 3 card or a 5 card or whatever, and they're not like 10 minutes or they're timed, you know what I mean? Then I would say that there's a difference. I could do long, meaningful, longer readings with the Light Seers, and I can also do fast, quick, and dirty readings with the Light Seers, because I have connected with it in such a profound way. But, I mean, the images of this deck are just everything to me. I mean, anybody can see what the Six of Wands means, right? Everything is so self-explanatory in these, but they're just so beautiful. And it's not hard for me to go deep with these, because I read through every morsel of the book with these, and I feel so much. I connect so much with these cards that this deck was a pivotal turning point for me in my tarot evolution because of Chris Ann and her writing and her art. And it is the first deck that I was able to see the light and the dark and the ability to see that in every reading, not just if it's reversed or if it's straight up, you know, upright. Nah. And then on top of that, she just came out with this last year, Tarot for Lightseers, the book. And she has so many spreads for all of the major arcana in this. That it brings so much more depth and understanding to any reading. Seriously. All the little notes, everything. So these do not, they're not, they don't come together. You can get the mass market for the book, and you can get the mass market for the deck. And I just think that you can do quick and fast readings with the Lightseers. I can, and I can do extremely in-depthful readings with the Lightseers. I know, but I have just bonded so intimately with this deck that, yeah, I don't think that there's ever been something that's come close to the kind of connection that I have with this deck. The Lightseers came really close, or I mean the Everyday Witch came very close, but it's always going to be the Lightseers Tarot for me. So that would be my professional pick. But like what I was talking about with whatever the beginner deck is, the same goes with that. Whatever you connect so deeply with, that you could do like a quick and fast and or a more in-depth and read into it more, that's the deck that would work for anybody, I feel like. And then we've got a Witchy Vibes deck, a deck that you recommend for those who love witchy aesthetics, moody vibes, magical symbolism, or spell work support, casting, altar work, etc. And for me, I did think of this one, which is the Witch Sister Tarot. But again, I do have other ones that I could think of as well. But this one has such beautiful faces and emotions and stories, and the artwork is just amazing. And this feels like, this doesn't feel like a modern, like Nietzsche, how do I say that, like cliche, which this feels like deep down rooted witchcraft, family traditions. This feels like earthy people living off of the land, that kind of witchcraft, right? This is like in your soul kind of witchcraft. This is not like modern day, like, you know, aesthetic and, you know, I'm going to go get me a hat and decorate it. It's not like that kind of witchcraft. This is rooted. This is deep. This is soulful. It's primal. That's what it feels like. And it's just, it's raw. I have visceral reactions to this artwork. It just like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not explaining it right, but it's definitely more of a primal instinct that kind of comes out with this. Like something from, you know, hundreds of years ago. Feels very Viking. I think this is Scottish, but, or even Druidic. You know, it feels like that to me. Just beauty, the beauty of real life, you know, not the illusion. Just so earthy and, oh. Oh my God. All right, moving on. And the last one is for astrology work, a deck that you recommend for astrology lovers and cosmic seekers, one that weaves planetary wisdom and archetypes into its structure, ideal for exploring birth charts, transits, and celestial guidance. Remember, I'm sticking to the tarot for this. So the one that I thought of was the Tabula Mundi, because the Tabula Mundi is very much a deck that involves the deacon work, right? For each, it has all the information on there. So like the 10 of discs would be Virgo and Mercury, or I should say Mercury and Virgo. 4 of Wands, we've got Venus and Aries. We've got Venus in Aquarius. We've got the Moon in Sagittarius. We've got our Prince of Wands, which is air of fire. We've got the Sun in Gemini for 10 of Swords. So it's got all the deacon stuff, but it's also got like the deacon rulers or the deacon houses. Let me show you. It's got specific, yeah. Here we go. Hang on. So it's got the Tree of Life. I love the card. So it's got like the 3 different ones that are in the deacon, the Aries deacons. So there's 3 deacons per 12 astrological signs. So we've got Mars, Sun, and Venus in Aries. So the deacons of Leo, it's got the who's that? Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars in Leo. The Sun, Venus, Mercury, and Virgo. So the deacons of Libra, we've got the Moon, Saturn, Jupiter. We've got Mars, Sun. You get the point. It goes through and it shows even what they would be in the 3, each 3 deacons, or the first 1, 2, 3 deacons of each of the different astrological signs, which is what creates the different deacon houses, which are 36. So it was designed for that very purpose, for people to be able to dig deeper into the astrological associations that were put on the tarot by the Golden Dawn. So and there's other ones too that I can think of that I have in mine, in my collection. But this is the one that also has like the different 12 deacons, the houses and their lineups. So I thought of those for astrology. So that was the Tabula Mundi, and it's just really such a beautiful deck. So those are all of my picks. I'm sorry if this has been a little bit longer. Those were all of my picks for decks that I'd recommend to my viewers. Editorspickdecks, and this was created by novamunditarot, and I decided to do only a tarot edition. I'm going to turn around maybe in a month from now or whenever I can fit it in and do an oracle edition. Okay, I think this was so fun. Nova, thank you so much for starting such an awesome tag. I always love these. These are so much fun. And this one really really made me think, right? So I appreciate you being here. I hope to see more people doing this. I have seen quite a few people doing it, but I'd love to see more doing it. And I am sending you love always.